The idea is also to gradually convert the youngest to the army after a period of combat. Concerning the army, I think that there is currently a recruitment of about 6,000 men, if I am not mistaken, and there will be more, because the challenge of the staff is the most important. Combat has reached a level where we can no longer afford to put small staff on the ground. So we have increased the recruitment and the training is in progress. At the same time, the equipment is also being acquired, so that when they finish their training, they can be immediately hired to secure a certain number of localities. So the question of security is summed up first by a question of staff. A question of equipment, which is in the course of resolution, because a fighter is not trained in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. He needs a minimum of knowledge that he must acquire to be able to face. Also, the enemy firepower is quite high. We are equipping ourselves to respond at least 5 to 7 times more than its firepower, to be able to dominate with our staff. So I can assure you that at the end of the training of these people, which should not take long, the priority will be put on these cities that carry the universities, and also to have the presence around the universities, so that you are not yet affected in your academic activities. That will be our priority. And moreover, as far as Thomas Sankara is concerned, the concern has already been raised by your staff and instructions have already been given to the Minister of Security to generate a force that must immediately be deployed there. Concerning Dori, Waiwia and the other centers, you must have noticed that we have redivided the territory. Because we were in 3 regions, and that does not allow us to coordinate efficiently. We have redivided and created what we call force groups. And I think that for those who are in Dori, they must soon see the evolution. Waiwi as well. I even saw a march the day before yesterday to demand more security. This is normal. In the hours to come, you will also see what will happen around. So currently, we cannot detail the entire strategy that is in place, but the tactical part, we are putting everything in place so that the units can face it.
Good morning, Africans. Good morning, good people. I hope you're doing fine where you are, and if you ain't doing fine, please do fine where you are. Yeah. Happy New Year. It's the 2nd of January. Yeah. By the time of recording this video, it's the 2nd of January. And Happy New Year. Have a prosperous New Year. For those, my supporters, the anonymous supporters, my subscribers on Patreon, my subscribers on the membership program, I really salute you and I appreciate you so much. Thank you a lot. Thank you a lot. Please have a prosperous New Year. Yeah, please do have a prosperous New Year. When we say about Burkina Faso, we think of, who do we think of? None other than Ibrahim Traore. Yeah, Ibrahim Traore was once, or rather, he is still the youngest president to be elected. Of course, he was not elected, but he was elected by the people's heart. The then president, whom people thought was elected, had rigged votes, you know. He was there, he was elected by the people of France, but he's serving Africans. What an ironical thing. The president of Burkina Faso, together with those other military presidents, are the ones who really showed us that we can really kick France out of Africa. And it was not easy to do so, you know. Many people think that when the military take action, when the military become the reigning power, many people think that everything is done, everything is over, we will not have peace, it will be tyrannical. No. With the other president, that is when it was tyrannical. That was when people were in poverty. But with Ibrahim Traore, people are happy, people are excited. And this person is really changing Burkina Faso more than the other person did. He's been in power for such a short time, but the things he's done is more than 10 years those other presidents have done. This young man, Ibrahim Traore, I really don't think I have enough words to describe him, but he's just one young man. We pray that may God protect him. May the Most High God conceal the country of Burkina Faso in his peace, because in as much as he's making programs to build his nation, there are some countries, even Africans, wanting the country to drown into chaos, to drown into poverty, to drown into civil war. There's a speech that Ibrahim Traore gave about establishing a better economy for the people of Burkina Faso, and I was really excited by this speech. I want us to watch it, and then by the end of the video, I shall share with you my thoughts, where we shall also have a deep, critical analysis. Let's dive in.
Je n'ai pas eu tort de venir échanger avec vous. Je suis très content de cela.
I think I did not do anything wrong to come and talk to you. I am very happy to be here. There is the worrying question for everyone, the security question. Universities, Dori, Waiwia, Fada, all these universities which are in red zones. I admit that it is right away that I learned that it has been more than a year that there is no course at the university in Dori. I just learned it. I did not know that it lasted for so long. What is there for the security of the university? The security of its institutions and of all the villages? What I can tell you today, if you have noticed, the first measures that we took were to increase our recruited staff. So the VDP, we increased the staff by making 2 classes, the municipal VDP and the national VDP. This means that the municipals will remain in their municipalities to defend, and the nationals will be able to be employed everywhere. And by the way, the units are proving something exceptional. They are facing the minimum they have, but we are also putting everything in place so that they have the necessary equipment. So if I can give you a date so that you can resume the course, I cannot say at what date exactly. But I can tell you that by the month of February, normally, a wave must have finished its formation and that we will inject on the ground. They finish at the end of January, and in February they will be injected on the ground. And I can't say that we start with Dori or Waiwea or Dedugu or all these central areas. But we are not going to detail the plan here. But we will do everything so that in the days to come, you will be safe and that you can return and resume the course. This is what I can assure you. And this goes for all the universities. Concerning the question of Naziboni, I think it is related to all the universities, the number of dishes that is insufficient. And the cities with the PDI today, it is not easy. I recognize it. I know that many students also have their parents displaced, and it makes the task difficult. The parents cannot support, and it is you who are now obliged to support. I recognize that all this is complicated. But the corollary of all this is this war, and we must fight so that in the days to come the temperature can drop and allow people to resume their activities a little, so that everyone can support each other. The PDI students, we will try to take this into account. Not only the students, but all the PDI. Moreover, today we are launching an appeal. You may have noticed that there are many communes. We are making the efforts to supply food, because this is what people are currently looking for to eat first. We have the chance that it does not rain first, but we must be able to satisfy this need for nutrition for all the PDI, and the effort is put on this at the moment. We are looking for as many trucks as possible. Men are ready to engage, especially when it comes to bringing food to the populations. They have no fatigue, they have no respite. And then we will also think about relocating, redefining the employment of certain PDI. And regarding the students, it will be for us to find the means, so that these people can integrate into the student society and be able to resume their studies. The challenge is enormous, I recognize it. There is a chancellor who asked me the question, "How dare you take such a country?" I said, "It's my country." There is no courage that we do not have. The question of infrastructures is known. The laboratories, the libraries, the internet. The internet, I think it will be resolved. Fortunately, the minister is there, she heard it well. I think that for the University of Ouagadougou, it is a concern. The optical fiber, the work is underway in any case. I think the connection is high. I hope that by June, it will be okay for the internet issue. I hope so. For the laboratories and the other effects, I recently discussed with a number of ministers about the new cooperation that we want with certain countries. Every time we go to a country for a new cooperation, I like to include the teaching sector so that we can find scholarships, so that the students can go and perfect themselves in certain technologies and come back. And above all, so that we can acquire laboratory material. Because I come from here, I did geology, and I know what a laboratory is. So I know that in all areas, you need it. And in our future partnerships, we focus on that. so that we can gradually re-equip our universities, our schools, so that the students can really... It is through this that you can really look for and develop something new. How to adapt education? This is a very good question. I was answering the question with the elders. In Burkina Faso, the new Minister of Youth, who was installed yesterday, received a mission to be able, with his comrades from higher education and from the APL, the basic education, to reform the educational system. Because in Burkina Faso, we finished the terminal, the destination is the university. Why not, in that interval, to be able to professionalize the training, so that from one level others can directly be employed, and that the university is a choice, and not necessarily. It is a process that has started. He received the mission, so he will quickly get to work with his other comrades to make this reform. Concerning the enrollment to be a VDP, I am very moved, very happy to see that. We don't want it, but I saw in a country, at a given level of war, they had to close the universities, enroll the students, train them, and face the threat. We hope that we will not get to this situation, but I am particularly happy to see that there are fighters here, that this rage still exists among the students. It is very good. We will study to see. But we don't want, in any case, to hire you to take Kalashnikovs, but we will hire you. We will hire you to make Kalashnikovs. Returning to the concerns of the University of Thomas Sankara, it is a concern that has been raised at the level of the teachers. And it is something that I followed, I think that in October. There was another fatal accident on that road. On Friday, if I am not mistaken, I took the road to go to the BDP training center. I was able to notice the narrowness of this road. So, from this week, I will see with the Minister of Infrastructure what can be done urgently, so that the road becomes a two-lane road at least. And also, I was saying, for security, this has already been taken into account. Returning to the question of patriotism, well, fortunately, it comes from you. And I wish that patriotism is the thing that motivates you the most. Nothing is worth the country. Already, this youth has understood that our country, we will never find ourselves elsewhere and be at home. It is at home here. And those who do not want to fight for the country, I think you know them. I do not want you to be violent towards them. But you have to observe them like that. Continue to play their game. But we will find ways and means to go with the patriots towards the revival of our country. And this is a very important phenomenon, especially since people have asked to bring back civic education at the university level. But we will find the formula to achieve the level of patriotism of the youth, so that people do not follow the footsteps of some people who have really lost everything. Now, regarding the issue of guaranteeing the population of the liberated areas, I cannot tell you here. If I tell you, it is public. If it is me, the enemy, I will adapt. Do you understand? There are many things, moreover, that cannot be said publicly because we contribute to inform the enemy, to prepare to counter what we are doing. So we prefer to reserve it for surprises. But remember that the war that is in progress is a battle. As you have noticed, there are days when we lose men, but there are days when we win. Generally, we do not communicate much since it started. As we say, the vocation of this war is not to kill, but we have no choice. If those who understand drop their weapons and join, we know what we can do for them. Those who do not understand, we have no choice. We are forced to fight fire by fire. So that is what is there. The reduction of the number of political parties, I think there is a global reform in progress. If we do not do it, it will never be done. I think it is up to you to decide. It is up to you, the young people, to decide. We are going to reform so that, I think that it should call everyone, so that people can unite and be able to develop Burkina. I do not think there are 1,000 different ways. There are many programs that cross each other. They have to come together to make a single program and have a number of parties. Or, by default, we are going to develop texts with their contests to reduce the number of growing political parties. That is the beginning of the cohesion and the union of Burkina. The leaders of the parties have to come together to create something great, to have a clear ideology and to be able to follow their goal. So these reforms are in progress and will be launched. The Prime Minister is going to convene a consultation for these reforms. Look at my faithful companions. You have faithful people. They are faithful. So, do not worry. The particularity between me and my companions is that war is not only bad. War is very good. It unites the fighter. So through the war, we have experienced a lot of fire together. We have experienced death together several times. It unites much more than anything. So, that is the most important. So, be sure that we have experienced death together once. This is the strongest link that can exist. What can easily betray is money. And this is the part where you have to be very careful. I often have a prayer that I like to do and that I continue to do, especially in my current position, because I do not understand some people who cannot help others. I like to pray and I like to say that if God has to give me $1 billion, everyone wants money, everyone wants fortune. That is why we try to work. But if God has to give me 1 billion francs and I cannot give 50 million to a young person to help him do something without going out, I pray to God that He does not give me that billion. So, I wish that it is the same for all the youth, that we never let money take over. We are hungry. We are poor. We have everything. But the dignity of man, there is nothing that is worth that, as much as he wants that. So, be reassured. If tomorrow you hear that someone gave me this or someone did that, what I am able to say is that yes, he gave me that and I used it to do that. So, I do not take anything from that and I pray to God that I cannot betray on that matter. Once that is done, we will be able to do the program that we want to carry out. And I think that everything will go well. And I would add that my major concern is that the youth remains awake, because the fight for sovereignty is a fight of the tongue. It is a fight that requires enough resistance. You see already a lot of things. There are terms that I do not want to say anymore because I was told not to say them. And I am upset. I do not want to upset anyone anymore because I do not even want to upset anyone. But this fight for sovereignty is committed, and that is all that we want to be sovereign. That brings me back to a question to which perhaps we cannot answer directly. But perhaps in the coming hours, you will see a certain number of information in order to review our relations with certain states. And I say this here because we need to reread a lot of texts. And I think that we have already committed to this yesterday, to reread a certain number of texts for our sovereignty, the last question on a particular country. We want to be sovereign, and I think that they themselves have said the last time they visited our sovereignty, we will take it. So we have committed all the necessary processes for this. And it is done in a soft way. And I do not want there to be violence. As I said, the youth that is there right now must leave the violence. I want you all in good health to be able to build. And those who do not understand this, find ways and means to prevent them from disturbing you. Be focused on our objective, and let's move forward towards our development, towards the sovereignty of our country. This is the most important.
Donc c'est ce qui est là. La réduction du nombre de partis politiques, je pense qu'il y a une réforme globale en cours. Si nous on ne le fait pas, c'est que ça ne va jamais se faire. Voilà. Je pense que c'est vous les décideurs. C'est vous les jeunes, c'est vous les décideurs. Et on va réformer de sorte que je pense que ça doit d'ailleurs interpeller tout le monde, que les gens puissent s'unir et pouvoir... Pour développer le Burkina, je ne pense pas qu'il y a 1000 voies différentes. Il y a beaucoup de programmes sûrement qui se croisent. Il faut qu'ils arrivent à s'unir pour faire un seul programme et avoir donc des partis, vraiment un nombre réduit de partis. Ou à défaut, nous allons élaborer des textes avec leur concours pour permettre de réduire donc ce nombre croissant de partis politiques. C'est ça même le début de la cohésion et de l'union des Burkinabés. Il faut que les chefs de partis là arrivent à s'unir, créer quelque chose de grand, avoir une idéologie bien claire et pouvoir donc voilà, poursuivre leur but. Donc c'est des réformes en cours qui seront lancées. Il y a le Premier ministère qui va convoquer un cadre de concertation pour ces réformes-là. Je regarde sur mes fidèles compagnons. Vous avez bien dit fidèles. Ils sont fidèles. Donc ne vous en faites pas. La particularité entre moi et mes compagnons, c'est que la guerre n'est pas que mauvaise. La guerre est très bien. Ça permet d'unir le combattant. Donc, à travers la guerre, on a vécu beaucoup d'épreuves du feu ensemble. On a vécu la mort ensemble plusieurs fois. Ça unit beaucoup plus que tout. Donc, c'est ça le plus important. Donc, soyez sûrs que on a côtoyé une fois la mort ensemble. Ça, c'est le lien le plus fort qui puisse exister. Ce qui peut facilement faire trahir, c'est l'argent. Et c'est ce volet duquel il faut faire très attention. J'ai une prière souvent que j'aime faire et que je continue de faire, surtout de ma position actuelle. Parce que je ne comprends pas souvent certaines personnes qui n'arrivent pas à aider d'autres. J'aime prier et j'aime dire que si Dieu doit me donner 1 milliard, tout le monde veut l'argent, tout le monde veut la fortune. Voilà pourquoi on cherche à travailler. Mais si Dieu doit me donner 1 milliard de francs et que je ne peux pas donner 50 millions à un jeune pour l'aider à faire quelque chose, s'en sortir, je prie Dieu qu'il ne me donne pas ce milliard-là. Donc je souhaite qu'il en soit de même pour toute la jeunesse, que nous ne laissons jamais l'argent prendre le dessus. On a faim, on est pauvre, on a tout, mais la dignité de l'homme, il n'y a rien qui vaut ça. Il faut cultiver ça. Donc, soyez rassurés. Si demain, vous entendez que quelqu'un m'a donné ça ou quelqu'un m'a fait ça, c'est que je suis en mesure de vous dire oui, il m'a donné ça et j'ai utilisé pour faire ça. Donc, je ne prends rien de sale et je prie Dieu que je ne puisse pas trahir sur ce volet-là. Une fois que ça, ce n'est pas fait, c'est qu'on pourra faire le programme qu'on veut dérouler. Et je pense que tout doit bien se passer.
Now, I think that by the beginning of the video, you saw how much people are clapping at Ibrahim Traore. You can see how much people love him. You know, can you tell me, is this really a dictator that the West is trying to put him, or rather the West is trying to make him look like? Is this someone who is a dictator? Can people really be happy, even children, the old and the young, all gender, the male and the female, can they be so excited for such a leader if he was a tyrannical leader? I don't think so. The West is always pushing agendas for Africans to look bad. You know, that person whom the West tries to make them look bad, if you do your investigation, you'll find that this person loves their own country, and they love their own country so much that they won't accept manipulation from the West. And if they refuse the manipulation, of course they're given a bad name. As the saying goes, if you want to kill a dog, you give it a bad name. With Ibrahim Traore, we don't care about that bad name or whether he's good or bad in the eyes of the Westerners. As long as he's good in the eyes of the Burkina Faso people first, and then he's good in the eyes of the Africans first, we are happy. We are excited by what Ibrahim Traore is doing. You understand? Establishing an economy is not an easy thing. You know, many leaders get into power and they only think about they and they themselves. But Ibrahim Traore, we've seen that he's always speaking for the countries of his own. He's always speaking of his country, yes, and Africa as a whole. There's no any single day Ibrahim Traore thinks of himself as an individual. He thinks in the totality of reality. In the totality of reality of the Burkinabe people. Because if we come to think of it, Burkina Faso know their problem better than Kenyans, myself, you know. But there's that problem that we share all as Africans, the colonial problem, you know, the corruption leaders problem. You know, this guy slashed his salary. He is not getting a presidential salary, by the way. The salary he's getting is getting the salary of a military leader. His position as a military leader is the money he's having. This man has invested in tractors. This man has invested in education. This man has invested in hospital and health. This man is a great man, I'm telling you. He's done a lot for the people of Burkina Faso. Him speaking like this is a lot of hope. You know, the French people thought that it was done with the Africans when they took out Thomas Sankara, you know. But God has a way of bringing things. God has a way of making things happen again. The ideas that Thomas Sankara had are the same ideas that Ibrahim Traore is holding. In fact, he says that Thomas Sankara was a legend to him. You know, this is a man who was not born in the hands of the rich. You know, he's grown through poverty. He knows what it is to suffer. So he won't joke around with public funds. Whatever he's saying right now is, let's build Burkina Faso, let's build our economy, let's stop depending on the French people for support. Let's stop depending on aid. Because once you start depending on aid, you trade your freedom, you trade your minerals, you trade your people. Nothing comes for free from the white people. From the white people, it's always give me, I give you. And it's never like that. It's never 50-50. They give you a small thing, they ask you of a big thing. And Ibrahim Traore, him taking away the people of France out of Burkina Faso, was one major thing that has really helped him grow the economy. Because if you come to think of it, Ibrahim Traore was... he went back and thought, these people of France, they are asking me for money for protection, guarding our borders, but we still have the same terrorists terrorizing us around. We don't have peace as we thought, or rather as they promised. What then shall we do? We just have to kick them away because they're taking our minerals, but they're lying to us. France itself is falling into poverty. France itself is drowning, you know? France is going nowhere. And now, Burkina Faso president has just made it even worse. He's made it worse. They thought they would come back through the civil wars. No. Burkina Faso can just grow by itself. You know, him speaking about the economy is tied to France. It is tied to France, where if he could have not kicked away the French people, I don't think the speech of economy would have been made. I don't think the growth of the Burkinabe economy would have uprised. I don't think so. Yeah. That's all I have to say in this video. Kindly share your thoughts. Let's further this discussion on the comment section. Let's hear what you think, and then I shall get back with you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Thank you.